Kate stepped forward again. "We are willing to negotiate peace," she said. "But it must be as equals, not as conqueror and conquered." The Empress' mandibles clicked rapidly as she processed this unusual demand from a species that should be trembling before her. What the Empress did not understand was that humans evolved as pack hunters on a hostile world. They were accustomed to taking down larger prey through cooperation, planning, and persistence. They had faced extinction-level events multiple times and survived. They had fought wars against themselves, developing strategies and countermeasures that no other species had needed. Mia moved to stand beside Kate. Both humans now facing the alien council with unexpected confidence. The Empress guards looked uncertain, their weapons lowered slightly, confused by the lack of fear in these soft creatures. The Empress considered her options. The human ships were not trying to destroy the planet, just disable key military installations. This was not the behavior of a species intent on revenge or conquest. It was calculated, precise, and restrained, showing unusual discipline. Perhaps the Empress thought perhaps these humans were worthy of respect after all. She raised one clawed hand, silencing the panicked council members. "Very well, human," she said. "I will hear your terms, but do not think this means you have won anything." Kate nodded and activated her communication device. "Earth Command. This is Diplomat. Kate, peace negotiations are commencing," she reported. The response came immediately through her earpiece. "Understood, Kate, proceed as planned. We are monitoring the situation." The Empress watched with new interest. These soft creatures from a small blue planet had managed what no other species had ever done. They had forced the mighty Zaxian Empire to the negotiating table through cleverness and courage, rather than superior force. It was unprecedented in all her centuries of rule. As negotiations began, the Empress learned more about these strange humans. They spoke of cooperation, of mutual benefit, of shared knowledge. They did not demand surrender or reparations, only recognition and respect. The concept was alien to the Zaxian mind. During a recess, Kate and Mia were led to a chamber to rest. The guards watched them with wary eyes, their weapons ready. Kate waited until they were alone before speaking quietly. To Mia, "The plan is working," Mia said, rubbing her wrists where restraints had been. "The fleet is holding position, but they can't maintain the illusion for long. Our ships are far fewer than what the hologram showed." Kate nodded, looking around for listening devices. "We only need enough time to establish communication," she replied. The Empress is pragmatic, not stupid. She will see the benefit of alliance over costly war if we can just keep her talking long enough. What the guards outside did not know was that the humans had only a dozen ships, not the hundreds shown in the hologram. But those ships were positioned, strategically targeting key vulnerabilities in the Zaxian defense network. It was a bluff, but a carefully calculated one. Meanwhile, aboard the human flagship, Admiral Lilly watched the tactical display with intense focus. The Zaxian homeworld glowed. At the center of the screen, surrounded by thousands of enemy vessels. "Our window is closing," she told her officers. "How much longer can we maintain the projection?" Field Chief Engineer Morgan looked up from her console. 30 minutes maximum before they detect the energy signature," she replied. "The quantum mirrors can't sustain the illusion beyond that point. The Zaxian sensors will eventually see through our trick." The Admiral nodded grimly. "Then Kate and Mia have 30 minutes to convince an Empire not to destroy us," she said. "Let us hope they are as persuasive as their records suggest." Back in the palace, negotiations had resumed. The Empress leaned forward on her throne, studying the human proposals with her 6 eyes. "What guarantee do I have that humans will not become a threat once we withdraw from your territories?" she asked. Her voice carried suspicion, but also curiosity. Kate activated her device again, showing maps of the galaxy. "There is space enough for both our peoples," she explained. "We have no interest in conquest, only exploration and discovery. Our territories need not overlap. Our species need not compete." The Empress clicked her mandibles thoughtfully. "You speak of peace, yet your ships target our defenses. she observed. You negotiate while threatening. This seems contradictory. Kate met the alien ruler's gaze without flinching. We learned from watching you, she replied. We came in peace initially, and you responded with violence. We adapted our approach accordingly. This answer seemed to satisfy the Empress. She turned to her advisors, clicking and humming in their native language. The translator was offline, but Kate had studied enough of their communication patterns to recognize a heated debate. On the flagship Admiral, Lily received an urgent message. 20 minutes remaining, Chief Engineer Morgan reported. The Zaxian sensors are beginning to detect irregularities in the projection field. They will soon realize the deception. The Admiral turned to her communications. Officer, send emergency signal to the diplomatic team. She ordered code Icarus. They need to finalize terms now. In the palace. Kate's wrist device vibrated with a subtle alert. She recognized the code immediately. Time was running out. She needed to bring negotiations to a conclusion before the Zaxians discovered the truth. Mia sensed the change in her colleague's posture. Empress, she said, speaking directly for the first time since her capture. We offer technological exchange as a gesture of goodwill. Our subspace jump technology for your crystal propulsion designs. Both our peoples would benefit. The Empress antennas twitched with interest. The jump technology was indeed valuable, potentially worth more than the conquest of Earth itself. She gestured to one of her scientists who stepped forward examining the technical specifications Kate displayed. This technology is primitive yet ingenious, the scientist admitted. It approaches the problem from an angle we never considered. It could indeed be valuable. The Empress considered this. The cost of continuing the war against these resourceful humans would be high. The potential benefits of technological exchange could outweigh the resources gained through conquest. It was a calculated decision, not an emotional one. Very well, the Empress finally said, I will order our forces to withdraw from human territory, in exchange for full access to this jump technology and non-aggression pact lasting 100 cycles. Kate nodded, showing no sign of the relief she felt. We accept these terms, she said formally. Let us prepare the agreement. Director Lauren considered the Empress' words carefully. What exactly are you proposing, she asked. The Empress gestured, and a new hologram appeared showing technical schematics. A joint defense initiative, she explained, Zaxian technology enhanced by human innovation. Your colony at Proxima sits at a strategic location. It could become a fortress world protecting both our territories. Kate studied the designs, recognizing elements of both human and Zaxian engineering blended in ways neither would have conceived alone. The structures were elegant, efficient, yet adaptive, with redundant systems and creative defensive configurations. After lengthy discussions, Earth Command agreed to a provisional alliance. The Proxima colony would become a joint, human Zaxian outpost. The first of its kind, a symbol of their new partnership, and a bulwark against the approaching Vroon. Kate was tasked with leading the diplomatic mission to the Vroon. She would travel with a joint delegation including Mia and 3 Zaxian diplomats. Their objective was to establish communication, assess the Vroon intentions, and if possible negotiate boundaries without conflict. The delegation departed for Proxima aboard a Zaxian diplomatic vessel modified with human comfort systems. The journey gave Kate time to study everything known about the Vroon, which was little. They were reclusive, expanding slowly, absorbing rather than conquering. They communicated through a combination of chemical signals and electromagnetic pulses translated through advanced technology. Upon reaching Proxima, they found the colony functioning normally but surrounded by Vroon observation devices. The colonists reported no hostile actions, just constant monitoring. Their communications had been blocked by some kind of interference field. The Vroon ship that greeted them was unlike anything Kate had seen before. Not constructed but grown, a living vessel of immense size with no visible weapons yet radiating power. She could feel the Zaxian diplomats tension their mandibles, clicking nervously. A delegation of Vroon requested to board their ship. Kate agreed after consulting with security. The first face-to-face meeting with this mysterious species would set the tone for all future interactions. The Vroon entered the conference room moving with an eerie grace. Their bodies resembled elongated insects with iridescent exoskeletons and multiple limbs. Their heads housed clusters of sensory organs rather than distinct eyes or ears. They carried no visible weapons, but Kate sensed they didn't need any. Communication was difficult at first. The translation matrix struggled with the Vroon conceptual language. They did not think as individuals, but as extensions of a greater whole. They had difficulty grasping the concept of separate species with independent goals. "We observe your binary cooperation," spoke the lead. Vroon, its voice a synthesized approximation through the translator. "Unusual, inefficient. You compete yet. Collaborate," explained. Kate chose her words carefully. "Diversity strengthens us," she said. "Different perspectives lead to innovation, adaptation, resilience. We remain independent yet work together for mutual benefit." The Vroon conferred among themselves. "Through imperceptible signals, our path is unity." The leader finally responded. "All life integrated, purposeful, efficient. Your colonies exist within space. We will integrate. They will join the unity." Kate recognized the diplomatic challenge. This wasn't aggression in the conventional sense. The Vroon truly believed their assimilation was beneficial, inevitable, the natural evolution of all life. She needed to find common ground. "Before we discuss territories," she said, "I propose an exchange of knowledge, cultural understanding, scientific cooperation without integration. Learn about each other before making decisions that affect both our peoples." The Vroon showed no visible reaction, but the air filled with subtle chemical markers. The translator struggled to interpret curious proposal, unnecessary, yet interesting. "Your species thinks in unusual patterns. The Zaxian species shows unexpected adaptation. We will consider observation period extended." It wasn't a diplomatic victory, but it wasn't a failure. Either they had bought time. The Vroon departed, leaving behind monitoring devices but making no aggressive moves toward the colony. Over the following months, the alliance between humans and Zaxians deepened. Proxima was transformed into a formidable outpost with defenses designed by joint engineering teams. The Vroon maintained their distance, observing, studying, but not advancing. Kate established regular communication with the Vroon, sharing cultural information, technological advancements, artistic expressions. She believed understanding was the path to peaceful coexistence. The Vroon responses were clinical, analytical, but gradually showed increasing comprehension of individual thought. 1 year after first contact, Kate stood with the Empress on the observation deck of the new Proxima Defense Station. The massive structure orbited the colony planet, a testament to what their species could accomplish together. The Empress antennas moved in a pattern Kate recognized as thoughtfulness. "You have changed us human," she said. Her translator conveyed the complex emotions behind the simple statement. "For thousands of cycles we conquered, because it was efficient, logical, the path of least resistance. Your species showed us alternatives. Cooperation, innovation, even compassion. These were foreign concepts." Kate smiled, watching the stars beyond the viewport. "We have changed too," she admitted. "Before meeting the Zaxians, humanity was fractured, divided by old conflicts and petty differences. The threat you posed united us, forced us to overcome our differences. Then the Alliance showed us what we could become." The Empress turned her 6 eyes toward the distant stars, where the Vroon waited. "And now we face a greater challenge together." She observed Kate, nodded following the Empress' gaze. "The Vroon represent a different philosophy of existence," she said. "Not good or evil, simply different. They believe unity is the ultimate goal. We believe diversity is strength. Perhaps both perspectives have value." Communication alert sounded. The Vroon were requesting another meeting. This time they wanted to visit Earth and Zaxxas Prime to observe both species in their natural environments. It was an unprecedented request. The Empress and Kate exchanged glances, understanding the significance. Both recognized the opportunity and the risk. The Vroon were evolving their perspective just as humans and Zaxians had evolved theirs. "We accept," Kate transmitted after receiving authorization from Earth Command, the Diplomatic dance would continue. the outcome uncertain but hopeful as the transmission ended. Kate looked out at the stars again. The galaxy was vast, filled with different forms of life, different philosophies, different paths of evolution. Humanity had emerged from its isolated corner of space to find both threats and opportunities. Beyond the shadows among the stars, they had found not just adversaries but also allies, and perhaps something even more valuable: perspective. The Empress stood beside her, a being so alien yet now a trusted partner. "What will be written in the stars next, human?" she asked, her voice carrying genuine curiosity. Kate smiled. "Whatever it is," she replied, "we will face it together." The shadows among stars had revealed not just the silhouettes of threat but the outlines of possibility. The future remained unwritten, but for the first time in the history of both their species, it would be written together. The Zaxian queen narrowed her 6 violet eyes as the small human female stood before the Grand Council. Kate was not supposed to be here. She was not supposed to be brave. The alien Empress towered 12 feet tall with iridescent scales that shimmered. Under the 3 moons of Zaxis Prime visible through the crystal dome ceiling, all eyes in the massive crystalline chamber focused on Kate, the human diplomat who barely reached the height of the Empress' waist, yet showed no fear. The Zaxian guards clutched their plasma weapons tighter, their mandibles clicking with anticipation, their insect-like forms rigid with tension. 5 cycles ago, the Zaxians discovered Earth, a tiny, insignificant planet with soft, weak inhabitants. The conquest should have been simple. The Zaxian armada had consumed 1,000 worlds before this one. But something went wrong. Very wrong. Kate stepped forward while the Empress hissed her disapproval. The human female wore simple attire compared to the ornate armor of the aliens around her, but she carried herself with unusual confidence for such a fragile creature. Her brown hair was tied back, her green eyes reflecting the strange light of the alien world. "We did not come seeking war," Kate said, her voice echoing in the vast chamber, "but we will not surrender what is ours." The Empress let out a sound between a laugh and a growl, the sound reverberating through the crystalline walls. "Your species is primitive," the Empress said, her translator converting the complex clicks and hums into human speech. "Your weapons are toys, your ships are slow, your bodies are weak. How did you destroy 3 of my battle cruisers with your inferior technology?" Kate smiled, an expression that made the Empress' antennas twitch with unease. The human did not respond. Instead, she activated a small device on her wrist. A hologram appeared showing the wreckage of massive Zaxian warships floating in the void of space, burning and broken. The Empress rose from her crystalline throne, her towering form casting shadows across Kate. "Your tricks do not impress me, human." The Empress gestured to her guards with one of her 4 arms. "Bring me the other one now." 2 guards disappeared through a doorway, returning with another human female. This one was called Mia. Her face bruised, her uniform torn. She had been captured during the first attack on the human colony of Proxima Centauri. Her ship damaged, but not destroyed. In the assault, Kate looked at Mia, then back at the Empress, her expression unchanged. The Empress expected fear, but saw only calm determination. This confused her. The Zaxian Empire ruled a quarter of the galaxy. Their technology was centuries beyond Earth. Yet these humans showed no proper deference. "Your friend will die unless you surrender your world," the Empress said, her voice vibrating the air with its power. Kate looked at Mia, who, despite her injuries, stood straight and proud, their eyes meeting in silent communication. The Empress did not understand the human response. This was not how conquered species behaved. They should be begging for mercy, offering tributes, promising servitude, not standing with such quiet dignity. What the Empress did not know was that humans were different. They had evolved on a world of constant danger, adapting, overcoming, surviving. Every human carried the instincts of thousands of generations of survivors. Earth was not a gentle world, and neither were its children. Kate took another step forward. The Empress guards raised their weapons, but she ignored them. "We tried to communicate peacefully," she said. "We offered friendship, trade, cultural exchange. You responded with weapons and aggression. The Empress laughed again. Your species is young and foolish. You have existed for a mere blink in cosmic time. The Zaxian Empire was conquering stars when your ancestors were still climbing from the oceans, still primitive and afraid. Mia suddenly smiled despite her injuries. Something about that smile made the Empress pause. Kate checked her wrist device and nodded slightly, a gesture almost imperceptible to anyone not watching closely. At that moment, alarms began blaring throughout the palace. Red lights flashed as the Empress translator relayed emergency messages. The human fleet had somehow bypassed the planetary defenses. Impossible, the Empress hissed, rising to her full, intimidating height. Kate spoke again. We may be young, but we learn fast. The device on her wrist projected another hologram showing dozens of small human vessels appearing seemingly out of nowhere around the Zaxian homeworld. Our ships might be slower, but they can jump through subspace without detection. A trick your scientists have not mastered. The Empress antennae flattened against her head in shock. The Zaxians had never mastered that technology. How could these primitive humans achieve what the greatest Zaxian scientists could not in thousands of years of research? The palace shook as explosions erupted in the distance. The Empress guards looked to her for orders, but for the first time in her long life, the Empress hesitated, uncertain of what action to take. What Kate did not say was that humans had been studying Zaxian technology since first contact. They had observed weaknesses, patterns, vulnerabilities. The human military had centuries of experience fighting against superior forces, developing guerrilla tactics, asymmetric warfare, and unconventional strategies. Earth had never known true peace, and its children were forged in conflict. Kate watched the confusion spread through the alien council. This was exactly what Earth Command had hoped for. We do not want your world, she said. We just want you to leave ours alone. A simple request from a species that wants to survive. The Empress considered killing the human diplomats instantly, but something stopped her. The calm in their eyes suggested they had anticipated this reaction, had planned for it. The Empress realized she was facing something new. Something unpredictable, something that did not follow the normal patterns of conquest. Outside the palace window, Kate could see human ships engaging Zaxian defenses. They moved in strange patterns impossible to predict. Their weapons were less powerful, but precisely targeted, hitting communication arrays, power nodes, shield generators. The humans had studied their enemy well before making their move. The Empress sank back to her throne. Her species had conquered through overwhelming force and technological superiority. They had never faced an enemy who adapted so quickly, who fought so creatively, who showed so little fear in the face of their might. As the formal agreement was being prepared, Kate received another alert from the flagship. 5 minutes remaining until the projection fails. Admiral Lilly warned. We cannot maintain the illusion any longer. Kate knew they had to finalize the treaty. Immediately before the Zaxians discovered the bluff Empress, she said we should sign the agreement now, to prevent any further loss of life on either side. The Empress studied Kate with her multiple eyes, sensing the human's sudden urgency. You seem anxious now, human, she observed. Why the rush when moments ago you were content to discuss terms at length? Kate thought quickly, knowing she needed a plausible explanation. Our ships are maintaining defensive positions. She said this consumes considerable energy. We cannot sustain this state indefinitely, just as your forces cannot remain at battle. Readiness without cost. The explanation seemed logical to the Empress, who nodded. The Zaxian Empire values efficiency. She agreed. She gestured to her scribes. Prepare the final document. Just as the treaty was being finalized, a Zaxian commander burst into the chamber. Empress, he clicked urgently. Our sensors have detected an anomaly. The human fleet is not as it appears. There are far fewer ships than shown. The Empress turned to Kate, her expression darkening. You deceived us, she hissed, rising to her full height. Her guards raised their weapons, targeting the human diplomats. Kate held her ground. We showed you what you expected to see, she replied calmly. Knew you would not negotiate unless you believed we posed a significant threat. But everything else we said is true. We seek peace, not conquest. The Empress moved toward Kate, looming over her. You admit to deception, yet expect me to honor this treaty. Kate looked up at the towering alien ruler. The deception was necessary, but our intentions are genuine, she said. We could have targeted your civilian centers, your royal palace, your spawning grounds. Instead, we disabled only military targets, with minimal casualties. Our restraint is proof of our sincerity. The Empress paused, considering this. The human had a point. A truly hostile species would have caused maximum damage, not precision strikes, and despite the deception, the jump technology was still valuable, still worth obtaining. Before the Empress could respond, another alarm sounded. A different Zaxian officer entered the chamber. Empress, he reported. The human ships are withdrawing. They are leaving our orbital space. Kate nodded to the Empress. Confirming this, a gesture of good faith, she explained. We are standing down our forces, removing the perceived threat, showing our commitment to peace. Aboard the flagship, Admiral Lilly watched as the projection field failed completely, revealing their small fleet to the Zaxian sensors. Get us out of weapons range, she ordered, but maintain position within the system. We need to stay close enough to extract our diplomatic team if necessary. The Empress observed this development with interest. The humans were indeed withdrawing despite having revealed their deception. They were making themselves vulnerable, an unusual tactic for any species she had encountered. The Zaxian military commander approached the throne Empress. He said, We can destroy their ships now while they are exposed. Their deception justifies retaliation. The Empress raised a hand, silencing him. These humans are strange, she said. They deceive, yet tell truth. They threaten, yet show restraint. They are weak, yet clever. I find them fascinating. She turned back to Kate. The terms of our agreement remain acceptable despite your deception, she declared. The jump technology alone justifies peace. And perhaps there is more we can learn from your kind. Relief washed over Kate, though. She maintained her diplomatic composure. She bowed slightly to the Empress. The United Earth government looks forward to a productive relationship with the Zaxian Empire, she said formally, as the treaty was finalized. Kate sent a message to the flagship. Agreement secured. Prepare for diplomatic extraction. She turned to Mia, who despite her injuries had maintained perfect composure throughout the negotiations. Their mission was accomplished against all odds. 2 days later, Kate and Mia stood in the office of Earth Command Director Lauren. The older woman reviewed the treaty terms with a critical eye. You took an enormous risk, she told the diplomats. If the Zaxians had discovered your bluff earlier, you both would be dead, and Earth might be facing annihilation. Kate nodded. I understood the risk, Director, she replied. But we had limited options. The Zaxian Empire respects strength and strategy. We had to demonstrate. Both Director Lauren leaned back in her chair, studying the two diplomats. You gave them our jump technology, she noted. That was not authorized, Kate. It's still experimental, Mia spoke up. We gave them the beta version, she explained. The one with the cascade failure in the quantum matrix. It will work for small jumps, but nothing large scale. By the time they discover the flaw, we will have established diplomatic relations and can offer the improved version as part of ongoing technology. Exchange, Lauren smiled, slightly impressed by their foresight. Very well, she said. You both acted beyond your authority, but the results justify the means. The President has approved the treaty. Earth has gained a powerful potential ally instead of a devastating war, Kate. Looked out the window at the blue sky of Earth, so different from the purple hues of Zaxxas Prime. The Zaxians are not evil, she reflected. They are simply conquerors. It's their nature, their evolutionary path. But they can learn to see other approaches. Director Lauren stood collecting the treaty documents. The President wants to meet you both, she said. Your approach was unorthodox but effective. Humanity needs diplomats who understand that sometimes deception and truth must work together. As they left the office, Kate thought about the Empress. Those 6 violet eyes had seen through their deception but recognized the value in peace anyway. Perhaps their species were not so different after all. Both were survivors, adaptable and pragmatic. 1 month later, Kate returned to Zaxxas Prime, this time as the official Earth ambassador. The Imperial Palace looked different now, not as a place of danger but as her new workplace. The Empress greeted her with a formal clicking of mandibles, a sign of respect in Zaxian culture. "Ambassador Kate," the Empress said, "I have been studying your species' history. You are violent, destructive, chaotic, yet also creative, compassionate, cooperative. You are contradictions walking on 2 legs. How does your species contain such opposites?" Kate smiled. The Empress was beginning to understand humans just as Kate was beginning to understand the Zaxians. "That is the essence of humanity," she explained. "We contain multitudes. We can be your greatest enemy or your strongest ally. The choice was yours. You chose wisely." 6 months passed since the treaty signing. Relations between humans and Zaxians grew cautiously optimistic. Trading outposts were established in neutral systems. Cultural exchanges began slowly at first, then with increasing enthusiasm. The jump. Technology transfer proceeded as planned, with human engineers helping the Zaxians adapt it to their larger vessels. Kate had established an embassy on Zaxxas Prime, with a small staff including Mia, who had recovered from her injuries and now served as security chief. The embassy was a crystal structure built in human architectural style, but with Zaxian materials, a physical symbol of cooperation. One morning, as Kate reviewed diplomatic communications, she received an urgent message from Earth. Command Director Lauren appeared on the secure channel. "Ambassador," she said, her expression grim. "We have a situation. The colony on Proxima Centauri B has gone dark. No communications for 24 hours. Kate felt a chill, remembering that Proxima was where Mia had been captured during the first Zaxian attacks. "Have you contacted the Empress about this?" she asked immediately. Lauren shook her head. "We wanted to consult with you first. This could be a Zaxian violation of the treaty, or it could be something else entirely. We need your assessment before making accusations." Kate understood the delicacy of the situation. "I will speak with the Empress immediately," she promised, "and deploy our embassy scout ship to investigate. If this is a misunderstanding, we need to clear it up quickly." After ending the transmission, Kate summoned Mia to her office. "I need you to take our scout ship to Proxima," she explained. "The colony has gone silent. Could be technical difficulties, could be something worse." Mia's face hardened at the mention of Proxima, where she had been taken prisoner. "You think the Zaxians broke the treaty?" she asked, her hand unconsciously touching the scar on her cheek, a reminder of her captivity. Kate shook her head. "I don't know," she admitted, "but I trust the Empress would not jeopardize everything we've built. It's more likely a third-party involvement or natural disaster. But we need eyes on the ground." While Mia prepared the scout ship, Kate requested an audience with the Empress. She was granted immediate access, a privilege that demonstrated her growing status in the Imperial Court. "Empress," she began once they were alone, "I have troubling news from the human colony at Proxima Centauri. Communications have been lost. We are sending a scout ship to investigate, but I wanted to inform you directly." The Empress' antennas twitched, a sign of concern Kate had learned to recognize. "The Zaxian Empire has no vessels in that sector," she said. Her mandibles clicked rapidly as she consulted with her advisors through their neural network. "We have detected unusual energy signatures in that region. However, our scientists believed them to be natural phenomena." Kate felt both relief and growing worry. If not the Zaxians, then who or what had caused the colony to go silent? "May I request Zaxian assistance in the investigation?" she asked. The Empress' agreement would demonstrate good faith and strengthen their alliance. The Empress considered this request. "I will dispatch a science vessel to accompany your scout," she decided. After a moment, she added, "and a battle cruiser as escort. The region may be dangerous." Kate thanked the Empress, appreciating that the offer of military support was both practical and symbolic. It showed the Zaxians were willing to protect human interests under the treaty. Mia departed within the hour, her scout ship accompanied by the much larger Zaxian vessels. The journey to Proxima would take 3 days. Even with jump technology, the waiting would be difficult. 2 days into the journey, Kate was awakened by an emergency transmission. Mia's face appeared on the screen. Ambassador, she said, her voice distorted by interference. We've arrived at Proxima. The situation is Kate. We have a first contact scenario. Kate sat up immediately, her diplomatic training kicking in. What species, she asked, reaching for her tablet to take notes. Not Zaxian. Mia replied. Another race entirely. They call themselves the Vroon insectoid, highly advanced. They claim the Proxima system is within their territory. The colony is intact, but communications were blocked. Kate processed this information. The galaxy was vast with countless intelligent species. Boundary disputes were inevitable. What is their disposition? She asked. Neutral, for now, Mia explained. They intercepted us before we reached the colony. Their technology is impressive, maybe even beyond Zaxian capabilities. They want to speak with authorized representatives immediately. Kate nodded, understanding the implications. I will consult with Earth Command and the Empress, she said. Tell them diplomatic representatives are en route. Do not make any agreements or concessions. After Mia signed off, Kate immediately contacted both Earth Command and the Empress. This was a delicate situation. The treaty with the Zaxians was still new, untested. Human colonies were vulnerable and Earth itself had limited defenses. A new potentially hostile species complicated everything. The Empress requested Kate come to the Imperial Palace immediately upon arrival. Kate found not just the Empress but the entire Zaxian High Council assembled. The Empress gestured Kate forward. This concerns both our species, she said. The Empress activated a holographic display showing a star map. The Vroon Empire, she explained, gesturing to a large section of space highlighted in red. We have encountered them before. They are dangerous, technologically superior, even to us. They expand slowly, but relentlessly, absorbing worlds into their collective. Kate studied the map with growing concern. Why did you not mention them during our negotiations, she asked. The Empress' mandibles clicked in what Kate had come to recognize as embarrassment. We believed they were still decades from reaching your sector, she admitted. Their expansion has accelerated unexpectedly. Director Lauren joined the conversation through a secure channel from Earth. So now we have two empires at our borders. She said, her tone carefully neutral. One we just made peace with and one unknown. How convenient for the Zaxians. The Empress rose to her full height. I understand your suspicion. Human, she said. But the Vroon are a threat to both our species. They do not conquer. They assimilate. They have no concept of independent species, rights. All life forms are simply resources to be incorporated into their collective. Kate looked between the Empress and the Director, recognizing the fragility of the moment. The trust between humans and Zaxians was still new, easily broken. What do you propose? She asked the Empress. The Empress' antennas straightened, a sign of determination. I propose a true alliance, she declared. Not merely peace, but cooperation. The treaty we signed was just the beginning. Together we might resist the Vroon. Separately we will fall. Director Lauren looked skeptical. Why would you ally with us, she asked. Your technology is superior. Your empire vast. What do humans offer that benefits the Zaxians? The Empress turned all six eyes toward Kate. Your adaptability, she said simply. Your creativity. Your ability to find solutions where we see none. The jump technology you provided has already revolutionized our transportation networks. You think differently. You see patterns we miss. You are chaotic, unpredictable, innovative qualities the Vroon cannot comprehend. Kate felt the weight of the moment. Understanding dawned. The Zaxians needed humans not for their resources or technology, but for their humanity, their unpredictability, their imagination, their ability to conceive strategies no logical species would consider.